derivatives collateral, and the $10,000 narrative. I keep seeing claims that XRP could reach $10,000 because of derivatives markets and institutional infrastructure. So let us slow this down and look at how these systems actually work, not to debunk anything. Just to understand the mechanisms, the goal here is not to tell you what to believe, it is to give you the tools to evaluate claims for yourself. The claim usually goes like this: the derivatives market is enormous. XRP could be used as collateral in this system. Therefore, XRP must reach extremely high valuations. It sounds institutional, it sounds sophisticated, but it depends on understanding three things: notional value, how collateral works, and what infrastructure actually does. The biggest gap is notional value. Notional value is not money in the system. It is not collateral posted. It is not actual exposure. And it does not represent demand. Here's a simple example. Two banks agree to swap interest rates on a $1 billion loan. The notional value of that contract is $1 billion. But neither bank posts $1 billion in collateral. They post collateral based on risk and volatility, usually a small fraction of the notional amount. Notional value tells you the scale of a contract. It does not tell you how much capital is required to support it. This matters because when people point to a quadrillion-dollar derivatives market, they are pointing to notional size, not collateral demand. Collateral systems are designed around one goal: reducing risk. They rely on cash, government bonds, high-quality corporate bonds, strict haircuts, daily margining, clearinghouse oversight. Why these assets? Because collateral must remain stable and liquid when markets are stressed. Volatile assets are discounted. That is called a haircut. If an asset can swing 20% in a day, you may need to post significantly more than its face value to use it as collateral. That is not bias. That is risk management. The system does not reward volatility. It penalizes it. DTCC documents are often cited as evidence for future price targets. But DTCC describes infrastructure capability, not asset endorsement. It explains what systems can process, including tokenized assets. That does not mean every token becomes systemically important collateral. Infrastructure is plumbing. It is not a valuation model. Collateral eligibility is determined by banks and regulators based on liquidity depth, volatility profile, regulatory treatment, and counterparty risk. Infrastructure readiness is necessary, but it is only step one. For XRP to reach five-figure valuations, several conditions would need to be met. Sustained institutional use as collateral. Regulatory clarity across jurisdictions. Liquidity comparable to sovereign bonds. Volatility low enough to avoid punitive haircuts. None of these are guaranteed by derivatives markets or tokenization alone. The size of the derivatives market does not create automatic demand for any specific asset. Collateral demand is driven by trust stability and regulation, not notional value. Understanding markets means understanding constraints, not just possibilities. Infrastructure can enable use cases, but adoption depends on behavior regulation and risk tolerance. If a price narrative relies on conflating notional size with collateral demand, it skips several steps. That does not make it impossible in theory. It makes the narrative insufficient in practice. Not impossible as an abstract outcome. Insufficient as a market explanation. Financial infrastructure is fascinating, but it is not magic. Oh, and one last thing I should mention. Support for Codius or other smart contract infrastructure does not mean XRP automatically becomes collateral in global derivatives markets, and it does not create demand or price pressure on its own. Hopefully this adds some clarity and helps you evaluate these claims for yourself.